I'm about to digitize the blue coneflower block in Lori Holt's Calico garden quilt. And if this is your first time joining me, I will put a link to a series of videos right up here that you can check out to see exactly how I do all of this. I'm on canvasworkspace.brother.com. This is the online version. And I'm going to click on My Projects. I have already scanned all of the simple shapes into the Brother ScanNCut and uploaded them to the Canvas workspace. Here is the blue coneflower block pieces. I have edit and download, and I want to edit this. So I'm clicking on the edit button. And on this piece right here for the flower pot, Lori only uses the top 2 inches of this piece in order to create the pot for this. And there's a couple of ways that you can edit this, and I'm going to show you what those are right now. So the easiest way is to just click on the piece, and you can see, let me pull this up. The mat has little dotted lines in 1-inch increments. So I'm going to grab it and move it up to one of the dotted lines. It's not exactly perfectly straight, but that's okay. And you can see it's 1, 2, 3 inches tall. So as I said, she only uses the top 2 inches for this pot. And the easiest way to change this is to just grab it on this center bottom dot and click it and drag it up. And there's your pot that's 2 inches tall. The problem with this is that the base of the pot is much more narrow. The final base of the pot on Lori's is 2 1/4 inches. So how you can fix that is I can Control Z to go back and make it exactly the way it was. You can double click on the shape very quickly and you will get nodes like this. And those are nodes that you can actually move and change the shape. And there's a box right over here on the left. And you can change it in straight lines or you can make it curves. We want it to be straight. Here you can add a node or add a point. Here you can subtract a point. And here you can open and close outlines. And then this is just a symmetrical handles if you wanted to change. What I'm going to do is grab one of these and just drag it right up, like right here. The other one, if I drag it up, this will do some weird things. I'm going to click on this one and I'm just going to hit the minus. See the little minus delete point to get rid of that. And then this one, drag it up and just kind of put it, I don't know, right about there. That's like 2 1/4, but I want the angle to be about the same. So you can play with it all day long. I think I'm happy with that. So you can play around with this to your heart's content and get it exactly the way you want it. To me, that's good enough. And I am ready to pull my fabrics now for each one of these pieces according to the cutting guide, and then get them backed with Heat and Bond Light and go ahead and get them cut out on the ScanNCut. So I'm going to do 2 things now. I'm going to download this and I'm going to download to PC. And that's going to give me my coneflower right there. That's the one I want. Pull into the software and then I can digitize the design. And I'm going to also do the download to the ScanNCut. And that way it'll be ready to cut it out on the fabrics. I hit close. Okay, I'm ready to get the design from the cloud that I sent down from Brother Canvas. So here on the main screen, I'm going to touch Retrieve Data. Again, if you don't know where I'm at, you can watch the previous videos that explains all of this step by step. I'm going to get it from the cloud, and there it is right there. I have my fabric. It's got the Heat and Bond on the back, Heat and Bond Light, and it needs to look kind of glassy. See how that looks shiny and glassy? If yours doesn't look like that, your iron's not hot enough. I'm just going to start putting these on the mat approximately where they are. I can see them on the screen. And I'm using a little tape because I don't trust the sticky of the mat. And there's nothing wrong with doing this to hold it in place. We need to make sure that this stuff does not move. I'm going to pop it into the ScanNCut, and I'm going to load the mat. I need to move my table. And I'm going to scan the mat. I'm going to hit the blue scanning button till it starts. I want it to take a picture of the mat and make sure everything's going to fit. Edit, object edit, and rotate 90. Okay. And my stem, my rim, and the leaves. There. Everything looks great. Tell it okay. Tell it okay. 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 Select, cut, start. Okay. Absolutely perfect. This makes it worth all the work. I will go back later and get all this tape up off the mat. But they all come out exactly perfect. All right. So I have my pieces now, and I need to go over to the software and build the design in the software and create the embroidery file. And then we'll be ready to iron these on and get the block done. I'm in BES 4 Dream Edition, and it's time to build the blue Coneflower block. I'm going to come up here to the B, and if you have Simply Applique, that's an A. Otherwise, the screen looks identical. You don't need both pieces of software. Just one will work, either this one, BES, or Simply Applique. So I'm going to go to the B and import FCM. And blue Coneflower, I click open. All right. And the first thing I want to do is set the height on the design. Lori set it at 7 1/4, I believe is what it was going to be. So I want to create a 7 1/4 inch space. I'm going to, let's see, what would 7 1/4 be? Let me pull this down 3 3/4 right there, and then I'm going to pull this other one down to 3. Let's see, that's 6 3/4. I can't do the math here. Let me go to 3 1/2, and 3 1/2 is 7 1/4. So that's 7 1/4 right there. I've got these lines set up. So now I can take my pot and center it right there, and the rim and center it. That. And the stem, let's turn it, get it straight, center. I can see on the green line it's centered. And my petals, and I'm going to rotate that and center on this. I got to bring this way down, pretty straight. And center that. Get my petals and bring them up, and leaves touching but not over. These a little bit like this. She had hers about 1/4 of an inch between here and there. That looks about right. Okay, I'm going to take another guideline and pull it down and put it right here so that that leaf is resting on it right there. And this one, I'm going to bring it up. How's that look? I'm happy with that. I think that's fine. Okay, I'm going to grab this guideline and bring it up, and this guideline and bring it up, and this guideline and bring it up. Don't have to do that. They will not show in the design. Okay, I need to get this into the correct order. So the first thing I want to go down is the stem. That's the rim. Let me right click, rename. And so this is the stem. I'm going to grab this on the picture and drag it up. And then I'm going to grab the petals and drag them down. All right, so we have the stem. And then I need the pot. And then the rim. Hover it over the one you want it to be after. And we have the left leaf and the right leaf and the petals and the cone. And that's it. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to Control A to select all. And I want to go to Arrange and Center to center the design in the hoop. That looks good. And now I'm going to go to Tools and convert to Applique. And I don't want the satin stitch. I want a blanket stitch. So over here in Properties, I'm going to drop it to a blanket stitch and click Apply. There we go. That looks good. Okay. And the stem is, the stitches are too big. I want length to be 1.5 and width to be 1.5 and hit enter, and that makes them nice and small. Sideways stitches here. That's probably because I don't have the block straight, and that's why that came out like that. I'm going to go File, Save As. This is going to be blue cone flower. I'm going to save it as the Paste Setter Outline BRF. That's my working file. And now I'm going to go File and Save As. I'm going to change it to the brother file, blue cone flower, and hit Save. So for those of you who have Embrilliance, I want to show you what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to drag the design onto the Embrilliance. You can see the design as an icon right here because I have Embrilliance Thumbnailer on my system. So what I'm going to do right here over in the Objects panel, I'm going to hit the plus sign. You do not have to do this. This is something that I do because I don't like the tack down line. If you don't have Embrilliance, you can skip over this stitch on your embroidery machine. So this is the placement line, and the tack down is the Brother Enhanced 101 applique position. I'm just going to hit delete with the keyboard on all of the 101 applique position. All of them that have the 101, I'm just going to hit delete. And that way it's not going to stitch. And I can just skip right over it. It's going to make my life a lot easier. And then I have a module of Embrilliance called Enthusiast, and that has a stitch editor in it. And if you have Enthusiast, you'll have this little icon right up here. That's the stitch editor button. And I'm going to click it. And what it does, I'm going to zoom in, and you can see you get all these little dots. Those are stitch edit points. Those are stitch points. I'm just going to grab these, and I'm going to move it like right over here and straighten these out. I wish I could put more of them. I probably could with Stitch Artist, where you can create stitches, but I don't want to do that. I need to get in closer. I need to grab this one. So not every piece of software does everything you want. Sometimes you have to use the ones that you know how to use. So this is ready for the embroidery machine now. Pretty happy with it. Let me click on this. Oh, let me get out of the stitch editor. I'm going to click on the whole design. And it is pretty close to 7 1/4. I am going to send this wirelessly over to my multi-needle. So I'm going to go Utility, Send to Solaris XP1. XP1 is the Luminaire. So I'm just going to hit this, and I'm going to blue CF and OK. It's going to throw an error message, but it will send it over to the multi-needle. Okay, so I'm going to tell it OK, and I'm ready to stitch now. I am getting ready to stitch out the blue coneflower block for Lori Holt's Calico Garden, and I'm just going to take you through the process of how I'm doing this. I have a 10 by 10 square of the yellow baby chicks, and I don't have anything on the back of it at all. I did not use any SF101 or anything. The only substrate I am using on these pieces is Heat and Bond Light that is on the back of all of the applique pieces. I'm going to move the camera down and show you what I'm doing. I have got my blue dime hoop mat here to help me find center, and I have hooped a piece of no-show poly mesh. I've got the top on the bottom. This is for the multi-needle. If you have a single needle machine, you can do the exact same thing. You're just going to change your thread colors manually. And all I'm going to do is just, I have got this on 0, north, south, east, and west, top, bottom, side, side. And I'm just going to fold this in half this way and fold it in half this way. And this is going to be trimmed down, I believe, to an 8-inch square, or 8.5, 8 or 8.5. I have to look, be sure. And now I'm just opening it up on the lines there. And the design itself is 7 1/4. I'm going to take these pins. You can use So Tights magnets, but I'm floating this, so I'm just going to pin this fabric to the stabilizer. Actually, I'm going to use some KK2000. This is Sulky's KK2000. I like embroidering with this when I float. It doesn't leave a residue on your needle, and it just keeps the fabric down onto the stabilizer. It makes life a lot easier. And this is all I'm going to do for this. Since I'm not doing a satin stitch, I don't need any kind of SF101 on the back of the quilting cotton. This is all going to be done in a blanket stitch. So this is it now. I am ready to go to the machine. All right, I sent the design over wirelessly. So I am going to hit the wireless button. This is the Brother PR 1055. All right, there's my design. I sent it over using Embrilliance. And I'm just going to hit set. And I actually am going to, I mean, it'll fit standing up, but I'm going to turn it sideways. It'll just make me feel a little bit better. So I'm going to hit rotate and rotate it 90 that way. There we go. And tell it okay. And edit end. And now I need to choose the thread spools for the design. I'm going to hit these 3 spools right here. This column right here is the number of color stops in the design. There are a total of 14. And then these 2 columns right here correspond to the spools on the back of the machine. Each spool is a different color, obviously. And then we have a hand for stop. We have do not stitch, and we have okay. The very first stitch is for the stem, and that is a darker green. That is actually on spool number 1, so I'm going to leave it as number 1. And the next stitch is the blanket stitch. I need it to stop before it stitches, so I'm going to touch the hand to tell it to stop, and then it's going to stitch, and I want it to stitch with spool number 1. This machine, it doesn't stitch and then stop, it stops and then stitches. And so you kind of have to get that in your head that it does it a little bit backwards. I have edited the design so that it does not have the tack down stitch because I don't need it, since I'm going to tack the fabric down by ironing it on using a little iron and my Heat and Bond Light that's on the back of the fabrics. Okay, the next one, is the pot, and the pot I have on that thread will be spool number 8, and the next stitch is the blanket stitch. I want it to stop so I can iron the fabric on and then use spool number 8. The rim is spool number 7. All right, I'm going to tell it okay, and embroidery. And we are ready to go. I'm just going to hit lock and go. Okay, we're all finished. Oh, it turned out beautiful. Look at it. Just as pretty as it can be. I am so pleased with how this turned out. And now I'm ready to trim it down to the block size it needs to be in the quilt. I'm not going to trim my blocks till probably right near the end as I get ready to put it all together. But okay, another one down. I've got one more to catch up on that came out last Monday, so I'm almost caught up from when we were on the cruise. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in learning how to do this, please check out this video right up here, and you can see how I do it all. All right, we will talk to you soon. You guys go sew something. Bye.